Today we're going to talk about access permits through the case tracker, and we will go through case details, case management and route management. On your home screen, on the left-hand side, if you click on the access permits icon, the second one down on the left, and then case tracker, it will open up your open cases. You can see the columns. You have the permit case number column, you have the application type, and this one will tell you if you have an oversize over mass application, it might be a PBS or a B double, etc. You can also see if it's a new, amend, or a renewal application. And the consent status is another good column to take note of. It will tell you the status of that application. When it first hits your account, your NHVR Go account, it will show as new until you start assessing. When it hits your account, from the moment it comes into your account, you have 28 days under the Heavy Vehicle National Law to grant consent or refuse it. Once 28 days has passed, the status of the case will change to an overdue decision. It will sit there for another 28 days before it will change to expired decision. At any time, you can still go into that case and grant your consent or refuse it. But please note, under the Heavy Vehicle National Law, you have 28 days. So we're going to go into this oversize over mass application, and it opens up on the case details page. At the top of the page, you'll see a picture of the configuration. Further down, you'll see the unladen details. You'll see a description of the load and then the laden details. So this customer is asking to carry machinery up to 63 tonne, making it 5.5 wide, 30 metres long and 5.3 metres high, a total mass of 100.5 tonne. When you have an over mass application, you'll also get this additional table here, the loaded axle mass and spacings, where the customer has to input the axle spacings, the axle group mass, the tyre size, etc. So further down this case details page, you'll see a snapshot of the route. It's a single route. Most oversize over mass applications will be a single route. And that means one freight task from start to finish. And further down the page, there's some other tabs that you'll find helpful. For example, Road Manager Decisions. And if you open that one up, you'll be able to see the exact status of the other road managers involved. And we'll take note of this because offering an alternate route, we'll need to know what status the other road managers are in. There's also a conditions tab, so any conditions added by any road managers will be in that tab. Notes, so if you have added notes to the application and if there's any attachments. Sometimes you might have a vehicle configuration that's a little bit outside the box, and so customers will often add a photo or a diagram of their vehicle in that attachment section. So recapping, we're on the case details page, and that is the overview of the whole application. So a recap of what we've done so far. We went to access permits, case tracker. We had a look at the permit case number column, the type of application, whether the application was a new, a renewal or an amend, and the consent status. When we clicked on the case number, it opened up the case details page. We could see the vehicle configuration, the unladen details, the laden details, a snapshot of the route, and some useful tabs below. So next, from that case details overview page, we'll go into case management. So when you go into case management, there's a start assessing button on the right-hand side. This one we've already started assessing, that has been selected, start assessing, and it's assigned the case to me. So we're under case management and we're on the workflow tab. The case has been assigned to me. If I was going on holidays or away, having some leave, something like that, you could reallocate the case here in this section using the drop down to someone else in your organisation that could take over the case for you. So we have case management workflow. The next tab is requests. And this is where we'll go if we need to ask anything of the customer or offer an alternate route. We will need to click on this information request button and pop our question to the customer in there, or offer that alternate route, which we will cover a little bit later on. You could also request an extension of time. If you're going to go over that 28-day time frame, if you have to do a bridge assessment or something similar, you could request an extension of time and notify the customer. The other tab to note here is the Notes tab. On this Notes tab, you can add a note, and it's a good place to keep track of the progress of this case. Say, for example, you've called the customer and had a conversation over the phone. If you want to take notes of that conversation, you could pop them in this section here. You could mark it internal, which means that only you will see it. You could share with all, which means the customer and the other road managers would see it, or mark it road managers only, and only the other road managers and yourself will see that. The next tab along is the Route Management tab. Now, as we could see when we looked at the case details page that showed us a snapshot of the route, this will show us in more detail. So we can see it goes from Orange all the way through to Jamestown in South Australia, and it's one freight task from start to finish. So we can see the section that we are being asked to approve. We click on this Roads tab over here. It will show you the road managers involved, and we can select our council. So hypothetically, we're the NHVR Regional Council. It zooms in and highlights the section that we are being asked to approve. We've got this section up the top here, you can see in that khaki colour. And I could see also there was a little section further down that we need to have a look at as well. So I can see that this section, hypothetically speaking, is not suitable, and I would like to change it and have the customer stay along that state road, the A32. So what I need to do is drag my pins down and alter that route. So as you get in nice and close, you can see you can be nice and exact with where you drop those pins. So this one I've dropped off the road, so I'm going to move that in a bit closer so I can drop it in exactly the right spot. Still not quite going the way I want it to, so I need to adjust these other pins as well. Zoom in nice and close and tidy them up. They need to be on the right side of the road. And as you can see, the light blue colour there is what the original route was, and now that is showing the way that I think is best for this particular configuration. The colour coding has changed, and you'll see on the left-hand side there that the road that I'm asking them to go along belongs to Transport for New South Wales. So what I need to do is check the status of Transport for New South Wales, because I can't do this if they have already started assessing the application. So if we go back to that case details page and back to our road manager decisions, we can see that it's still sitting as a new application with Transport for New South Wales, so I can offer the alternate in this circumstance. If it was under assessment, I couldn't do that unless I was prepared to call them and seek permission to change that route to go onto their roads. So I'll save alternate, which will save the new route that I have done. You can see there, the light blue colour is the old route, and I have saved the alternate, which is alternate 3. So that populates on the left-hand side here. So now I have to advise the customer that we've changed the route, and we need to do that via an information request. So we go to Case Management, Requests, Information Request, and it automatically populates with an alternate route. That's the most common form of an information request, so that populates for you. I just need to select from the route ID here, my alternate 3, and then scripting's already in there, so I just submit request, and that sends an information request to the customer. So my 28 days of assessing this application has now been paused until I get that answer back from the customer. So we've offered the alternate route. The other thing I wanted to show you, the tabs and what's available to you on the route management page, is the layers. So if we scroll in again, we can see the customer has plotted this, and in this particular town here, they've gone around. I'm just going to turn on the oversized network to see if they're the most appropriate roads. So this particular application doesn't comply with the gazetted network or a gazette notice, which is why they're applying for the route in full. However, you can imagine that the oversized network is going to be most suitable for them of any roads. So you've got a layers tab over here that you can find different layers or different gazetted networks. I'm going to use this little one in the top right corner of the map. And I'm going to go down until I find the New South Wales oversize over mass load carrying vehicles network approved routes. I'll turn that one on, close out of my menu there, and you can see this red section is red because that's a no in terms of the network. It's not suitable for oversize over mass vehicles. So the customer has actually plotted, you can see, on that oversized network. So that's a way you can turn on your layers. So for example, if you were looking at a PBS application, you could find the correct PBS layer within that menu and turn that on. So for this oversize over mass, that is correct. The other tab to note on the route management page is this summary tab. If we're helping someone with an application, we always ask them to pop some notes in there to give their application more context. Have a look at that section. Quite often you'll have some notes from the customer in there. So that's our oversize over mass application. We'll go back to the case tracker now. So under access permits, case tracker, we're going to go into a PBS application. So selecting the case number, it opens up and it doesn't show us the vehicle configuration at the top. So all other application types will show you the vehicle configuration. However, PBS vehicles, you need to look at the vehicle approval document to find out the type of vehicle. So we've got the vehicle approval number, and I can see a vehicle approval attachment right here. I'll also find that under the attachments at the bottom of this page. So before we open up the vehicle approval document, the things to note on a PBS application, just above the map here, is the tier, the mass being requested. So in this case, it's HML, and the level. So the tier, so tier 1, HML, level 2. So before we open up the document, we'll just look further down. So we have a snapshot of the route. The layers have been turned on. I can see the PBS level 2 network is turned on. I can see that it's an area application. Single routes are usually for oversize over mass, or any vehicle that cannot comply with the network will apply for a single route. If the vehicle does comply with the network and they just want the roads off that network, it will be an area application. So you can have one state authority and one local government authority in the one application. So this application is for the hypothetical local government area that we've made for today's training. So it's only roads within that area on this application. You can see your road manager decisions down here, so we can see who else is involved, our conditions, our notes, and the attachments. As I said, you'll also find that VA document. So opening up the VA, so remembering tier 1, HML level 2. We open up the VA document. On the top of every page, you'll have the VA number. We can see that this one is for a B double, up to 20 metres long and up to 4.3 metres high. Scrolling down further, we can see there's several vehicles on this VA. So they have several prime movers, lead trailers and rear trailers. When there's several vehicles, it often results in many mass tables. So scrolling down, having a look at the mass tables, we can see the table 1 here is for level 2, but it's tier 2, 3. So that's not applicable to us because our application was for tier 1. So this next table is level 2, tier 1, and the HML mass requested is 60.35. So scrolling down further, we'll see if any other tables are applicable, and they are. So we've got a level 2, tier 1 at 60.25, table 4, level 2, tier 1, 60.35, and level 2, tier 1, 60.25 is table 5. So it's just a different combination of the prime movers and trailer sets that make up those different tables. Further down, we can see that the next table is a level 1 table, so that's not applicable. So we know that this application they're applying for 60.35 to 60.25 tonne. So on the case details page, we're a PBS vehicle, We've had a look at the VA. We know we're a level 2 HML Tier 1 application, and we've seen our roads. So moving on now to the Case Management tab. We've started assessing. We've clicked that blue button that will be on the right-hand side there, and it's allocated the case to me. We know under the Request tabs here is where we'd offer an information request, and our Notes tab there again. We're going to move on to the Route Management tab now, and we'll have a closer look at those roads. So the roads up the top here, I'm happy with as the road manager, so we'll leave those ones alone. Going to have a look at this other area further down. Okay, hypothetically speaking, looking at this road, I don't believe that's the most suitable way. There's an unsuitable intersection there, so I would like the customer to come in another way. So I'm going to select this little icon down in the bottom right corner here. When it turns blue, it means I can drop a pin. So I'm going to drop a pin there, and again over here. And that's the way I would like the customer to go into this address, not the way that they have plotted. So what I can do over here on the left, we have the different sets. So being an area application, we try and get customers to plot it one street at a time, so that if you were to refuse any one street, it won't knock out their whole application. So set 1 is the set that we're not happy with. That's the one coming in this way or going out that way. So what we can do is just click on this red minus button here and remove that set. To zoom back in again there now. And you can see again in that light blue colour, that was the route that was there. And the set that we've replaced it with is now showing there in yellow. So having a look at our sets over here now, they've changed around a little bit. The first set was one of the ones up in the other town. So those 2 sets are there and we're happy with those. Set 3 is the one I've added, and we have deleted one down here. So we're happy with that. So again, we'll save the alternate. It gives me an alternate 5. So I go back to Case Management, back to Requests, Information Request, and we change the route ID to alternate 5, and we submit. And that sends the request off to the customer and pauses our application. On our Case Management page, we could see the Workflow, Requests and Notes tab. Remember, the Requests tab is where you go to offer an information request. On the Route Management page, we went into the Roads tab. We could see the road managers involved, and we could select our road manager profile to zoom in on the roads we were being asked to grant consent on. On our PBS application, we went to the Case Details page. We could see it was a PBS configuration, and we could see where the VA was attached. On the Case Details page, you can also see the tier, the mass, and the level that the customer is requesting. When you open the vehicle approval document, the VA number is at the top of the page. You can see the type of vehicle configuration it is and the length and the height. And you'll find the mass tables with the level, the mass, and the tier that the customer has requested. Recapping sending an information request, you go to the Case Management page and Requests, and click on the blue Information Request button on the right. It will automatically populate an alternate route proposal, and underneath you can select your alternate route ID from the drop-down and then hit Submit Request.